Hey guys, today we're out in the beautiful Susquehanna River, and it's funny. I usually make a video, talking about bikes, and I ride bikes, and obviously that's what I do. But I've had the same bike for a while, and I'm not done with that bike. There's still going to be stuff that I'm doing to it. The Amonda SLR rim rack option, the H2, not the outgoing Amonda, the one before that, because I loved that bike and the whole platform of that bike, and even the first 1 series I had a lot in common with the geometry of that bike, and I loved it. But I had another bike called the Domine SL7, which was an awesome bike. I rode it about 160 miles in a day, and I love that endurance platform because I love, just the Amonda SLR is so fast in the sense of it's so light, it feels so easy to pedal, it's so effortless. But there is part of me that wants kind of that smooth, really, really overly smooth ride. Not that the Amonda isn't smooth, it's very smooth. But, this segment of bike just is smoother than a lot of stuff I've seen. And with the wider tires, it feels like it goes down hills at a really high speed. I've heard that around just 32mm tires, just bomb hills really, really fast. And I kind of miss that riding experience because I could be out on that thing all day and just have the best time ever. But, I don't want to get another Domine. I've already had one. And, the Trek stuff, I feel like the quality isn't quite where it was a few years ago with it, but Specialized, I feel like their quality was down a little bit, but it went back up. And I know I talked a little bit about the Roubaix and how I loved how smooth that bike was. It's just so smooth, and they say it's smooth, but to me, it was more comfortable riding than really any other bike I'd ridden before. And I've tried one of those. I've tried BMC road machines, which are also really, really comfortable. But there's something about the Roubaix, every time I get on it, and it's funny, it's Specialized. Specialized is the brand that, everybody kind of likes to hate because they do a lot of things that even I would agree are very questionable. They come after, people for using certain names that they use and trying to just cause trouble that way, or taking people's social media accounts down, and I don't condone any of that. But no matter how much a bike company, there are a lot of things that Trek did and has done and probably still does that really upset me too. No matter how much a bicycle company upsets you, they're still making bicycles, and that's a good thing. Even if they do something that just sucks, right? They're still making bicycles, and that's a bike that somebody could buy and ride everywhere and save a ton of resources and have fun at the same time and probably improve their mental health. They don't have to be on SSRI meds anymore. Maybe they can get off that because, they have their endorphins going. That's a good thing. No matter what the bike company is, just the company choosing to make bikes is something that I think should be celebrated no matter what. None of them are perfect. They all do things that I think are kind of, borderline, I would say, or not good. But I think that in this community online, there's a lot of oh, well, you shouldn't buy Specialized because of this. You shouldn't buy a Canyon or, BMC because of this, or this company did this. And they'll also point to genuine engineering flaws. There's actually partially a reason that I've looked into titanium frames because of this issue, but on the Amonda, and I'll make a separate video about this, I'm getting a lot of creaking, and I've actually had an Amonda SL before and it creaked a little bit, but this is to a point where it's getting kind of annoying. And some people have pointed out that, carbon fiber frames are awesome and there are a lot of advantages to them over everything. The way that they can be designed, for certain handling characteristics or comfort characteristics. But in a bottom bracket, that's really the downfall. And either you're going to have bearings that do not fit right in creek, or you're going to have a shell, and then what happens with that shell is it's pressed in, and then you can have galvanic corrosion potentially with that. But to be honest, I'm not sure how common that actually is. I haven't really seen that before in my experience just working on bikes, and I'm curious to think about what you guys as the audience think about that. But I love that the Roubaix is a BSA because it's less tools and it's easier to service. But the thing about it is, I guess there's potential for galvanic corrosion. But let me know what you guys think, and I want to know what people think about getting another all-road bike, because I love that experience. And I was thinking either a light speed Chilara or Specialized Roubaix, BMC road machine. Those were kind of the few that I was going between. And the light speed, it's not the lightest frame. That's one of the reasons that I'm not super big on that one. And then the BMC is pretty nice, but I find that the Roubaix feels a little bit lighter than the road machine. I think the road machine actually might be lighter, but the Roubaix actually feels like a better handling bike to me, in the terms of it feels a little bit lighter. Now they feel very similar, but the Roubaix, there's something about it, it just feels like it wants to go in a straight line and just be smooth and continue. Like it feels like the bike just kind of wants to keep going. Now maybe this is just in my head or something. That was my experience. But the Roubaix, it's funny, it sounds like sorbet. Sorbet is smooth. Like when it came out, like I'll said it before and I'll say it again, it's such a smooth bike in the sense where it just eats everything up. Like, you're not getting that fatigue, downstate in your hands, and all the touch points you want to avoid on a road bike. So, I mean, that's, I love doing like 70 to 100 mile rides when I have the time. So I love that experience with it. And I want to know if anybody's had a Roubaix, what they think about it. This would be the new Roubaix SLA that I'd buy brand new. I actually talked about getting an Athos, but for me, it rode harsher than I would have liked. And I think that's partially because it's still a disc brake bike. The carbon is laid up really nice and it's a forgiving ride, but when you combine the through axles with that's stiffness. Now you don't get the consequences of that stiffness with the Roubaix because you have the Future Shock 3 and because you have the Pave C post implemented into that bike. So the Athos is amazing and it's very light, but it's not as forgiving as I would like if I'm getting another disc bike like that, because rim brake bikes just tend to be more compliant because you're not adding that extra stiffness down there to reinforce the structure due to braking forces. But yeah, I'm not, there's still things I'm doing. I'm trying to make it the perfect Demanda, the SLR that I have. There's going to be some stuff coming to it. It's kind of a surprise, and it's going to basically be a perfect Demanda, and I'm going to get it as close to that as I can. Because for that segment of bike that's still kind of comfortable and it's lightweight and it's a climbing bike and it kind of just beats everything out there speed-wise, just so easy to pedal because of the weight, I want to get that perfectly dialed in. I think I probably am going to be buying oversized bearings for that because I'm getting a little bit of a knocking noise. It's very intermittent, but it is kind of an engineering failure on Trek's part, and I mean I could bring it back to like my Trek dealer and have them put a new cup in and all that sort of stuff. But my buddy that has worked for Trek for 7 years is like, dude, just get the oversized bearings. So I'm probably going to do that. It's kind of another topic, another video. But I took my bearings out, red Loctite, just like anybody would put those in, and it's still knocking like crazy. So I want to get that perfect, but I think I also want to get another all-road bike to go alongside it. So it's probably going to be Roubaix. I could do the Sport Apex and go to one by electronic, and then I could get carbon wheels. There is the Expert, which I really like because it has a power meter actually built in to that Rival group set. I know I had a Force group set with a Quark built in on my Dominator SL7, but with this you get carbon wheels, you get all the stuff, you get the complete package, which is nice. But with the Sport Apex, I mean, I could get a nice set of zips to go alongside it, maybe some 303S's. but it's such a great bike. The Roubaix SL8, it's so great. And as much as people love to hate Specialized, it's really awesome. Yeah, they do direct to consumer, but I mean, a lot of companies do that too, and a lot of bike shops do that too. So we're all just trying to get bikes to people. But if you'll sell those things, if you can sell them over anybody else, Specialized will give them to you as a shop, and you'll sell them. So keep selling them. Just keep selling them. And we do want to talk about better margins, like for bike shops. Support your local bike shop, please. Support your local bike shop, because they're here to answer questions. They answer questions and help you. And Specialized is still doing that, so we want them to do that more. It goes for Trek, maybe even Canyon. Canyon opened up. I think they have one concept store. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about. New bike, possibly. I want to know what everybody thinks of those options and what my concerns are and why these are my concerns, and if anybody has any objections or thinks that I'm worrying about anything that I just don't need to worry about at all. So I hope you all have an awesome day and stay vegan.